got another one here. It says Aaron got some Triads LCRs.
Yes, I did. Is it behind me? Yeah, that's one of them.
What
Yeah,
is this company Triad?
Triad. They do like a lot of custom installation type stuff, and I don't even know if you can buy them direct. I think you have to go through a dealer. I'm not sure. I think you have to go through a dealer. But the thing is that there's a long thread on AVS forum about them, and there's been a lot of talk the past number of years about people trying to get measurements for them, and for one reason or another, they're unable to. And most of the time, the feedback on the thread is that they will email the company, the manufacturer, and say, we want this data, and the manufacturer, for whatever reason, won't provide it to them. So this exact one was tested in a speaker shootout that occurred in Colorado Springs a couple weekends ago. And they asked, the guys who put it on, asked if I would be willing to measure it. So I was like, sure, no problem. So I just measured it this weekend. And the results are, they're not bad, but the speaker pairs $6,600. It's two 8-inch woofers, I think they say 5.5 mid-range, and then I guess a 1-inch dome tweeter on a flat baffle. There's really nothing spectacular about the design. It's just it's painted flat black. The response linearity is not bad, but there's a couple dips in it that I'm just like, the directivity is okay. The output's good. It's designed to be used with a crossover. So it uses two 8-inch woofers. And the first thing you think is, oh, it's going to get low. But they spec it down to 50 hertz on their website. And you think, okay, well, then it's going to get loud. Well, they spec sensitivity of 92 dB, which is good, but my measurements show 89 dB. And that's 3 dB off. It's not like I'm 1 dB off or 2 dB off. 3 dB off is a pretty good bit. There is one point where it does hit 92 dB, but I'm like, maybe that's how they're doing it. But honestly, my just overall assessment of it is it's not a bad speaker. If you have EQ, it can certainly be made to be a really good speaker. But at $6,600 for the pair, the first thing I thought of when I was looking at the data was the Arendal 1961 tower. The Arendal is better linearity. It's just as good output because it features, I think, 2 6.5 or 3 6.5 inch mid-bass mid-woofer. It's like a 2.5 way design. The only thing that the Arendal doesn't do as well, in my personal subjective opinion, is it's a narrower sound profile. So it's about plus or minus 80 degrees, like in the frontal hemisphere. Whereas these are a little bit wider, so they're about I'd say 50, 60, plus or minus 120 or so. So it's about 60 degrees to one side, 60 degrees to the other side.
And that's not necessarily like always a pro, right?
Yeah, it's not right. Yeah, to me, that's just a preference. I prefer a little bit wider radiating speaker. So I would rank it higher in that regard over the Arendal. But the Arendals are, I think they're $1,699 for the pair, as opposed to $1,600 or $6,600 for the pair of these. And I'm just like, and I haven't even looked to see what other speakers I could legitimately compare these Triads against. The Arendal was the first thing that popped in my head. So there are probably other ones out there that I would maybe say, I think these other ones are a better value, right? It's not like the performance is terrible, but if you're talking about in terms of cost, I think you could do better.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'm a hater because when I see expensive speakers that don't perform well, I'm almost like, yes, I knew it. I knew it.
Right.
I don't know. There's just certain brands that I see people talking about that I'm just like, I judge based on like how it looks, right? I look at the design. I'm like, it's expensive. What is that?
Yeah.
Right? And just like I said with your JBL, I'm like, that cone doesn't look like it has very much excursion. You're like, yeah, it doesn't.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So I think you just kind of get used to, I don't know. You have an idea just by looking at the speaker. A lot of times when you have more experience, you're like, all right, look at that. That looks like a heavy cone, stuff like that. But yeah. So it doesn't sound like it's horrible, but it doesn't sound like blew your mind either.
Yeah, I was hoping for better just based off the lore of the brand. Like so many people are talking about them, but the manufacturer won't provide any measurement data or anything like that. And even the dealers, there were a couple of dealers that were saying they can't even get that data from the manufacturer. And I was like, well, that's weird. So as far as I know, this is the first Triad that's actually got published or will have published anechoic data. There was a test from Sound and Vision some years back where they tested out the platinum version. So this is the Triad Gold LCR.
They're not going to get weird, right? Like, oh, we didn't want that information put out there.
I mean, somebody bought the speaker and sent it to me. So
they're not going to pull a Bose, right?
I mean, I would hope not. It's just data. Matter of fact, I mean, a lot of people can use it for their own good. A couple of people already are, actually.
Yeah,
I've had a couple of people message me about it and ask them, what would you do based on this? Because for right now, it's just posted on my Patreon. It's not posted publicly anywhere yet.
Okay.
Which is a perk. Say, shout out to myself. If you want to see data and sneak peeks of what I'm doing in the background ahead of time, join my Patreon, patreon.com/Aaron's Audio Corner.
Yeah, and if you would have thought of, joining mine, just join Aaron's instead, because I don't do anything on mine. So
do you not?
No, I'm too busy trying to do just the normal YouTube one.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
All right, everybody. We do the Daily Hi-Fi podcast every Monday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So make sure you join up to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Daily Hi-Fi, and we will see you there for the big show every Monday. Yeah.